Dinarland June 2, 2017. From MadDScout, RayRen98, ADMINBILL, Phillyman, Cap, Mike, Backdoc and one who serves. From MadDScout. So we can say that we are not in kick the can down the road yet, waiting longer for the RV. I don't think anyone wants to kick the can down the road. I usually take it to mean procrastination, which I don't think is happening. I guess the question is, are we still fairly expectant? Yes, and it only takes watching the news to see it. One day they have to get their head around a concept, then few days later we see adjustment. Can't ask for more. From RayRen98, Prime Minister Abadi accepts the resignation of the Finance Minister. Some might see this as a delay, but it was supposedly agreed that he would not resign before all of the calculations and numbers for revaluation were agreed and established. Iraqi TV is showing that the command center map is not showing any gains, but reportedly only 2% is remaining. The news focus has changed to the resigning finance minister. Iraqi TV reports ISIS preparing for its last battle at the mosque, and indicating that the reconciliation announcement will happen after the conclusion of Ramadan. Remember, you can't believe 100% of the news, it's flawed to a certain degree. Let's see what happens next. Next up, for those who may have missed the following tidbits and opinions. From ADMINBILL. To those that are patiently, some impatiently, waiting for the continuously elusive RV/GCR. Another month of promises has passed us by, yet we remain steadfast in our belief we will finally see this end. Perhaps the next few days will provide the result we have been hoping to see for years. The info is good, but we have been there before. From Phillyman. A lot of articles hit starting yesterday about IS getting ready for the final stand in the old city, the place of that leaning minaret, the great mosque of Al-Nuri. They are coming up on the 3-year anniversary of Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi declaring the caliphate there. We are witnessing what will go down as a celebrated and historic event in Iraq's history. We know they are short on holidays and could certainly use another one. Does it mean the end of IS in Iraq? Clearly it does not, but it seems that the Iraqis are seeing it as a turning point. Praying it's over soon. From Cap. Is it better for Iraq to rebuild itself at the present rate or at a re-established rate? At this point in time, it does not matter what the exchange rate is regarding rebuilding, since the primary source of revenue is oil sales, 95%, which is paid in dollars. And since the dinar is not globally convertible, Iraq pays for goods in dollars. So in that sense they are on the same playing field we are on in the US when we pay for goods. The real benefit comes when the CBI can begin to raise the value to offset inflationary pressure created by investors and investment, along with meeting IMF Article 8 compliance. The result will eventually give the citizens a better life, greater purchasing power, and most importantly the ability for the CBI to keep its dollars and pay in dinars. From Mike, article. The Iraqi delegation begins its negotiations today with the International Monetary Fund. The IMF has always been focused on maintaining the peg while Iraq navigates the way towards an open market economy with legislative support to bolster it. The last paragraph tells us that Iraq is receiving $3 billion from Cashbox International, and the only ones giving Iraq $3 billion is the IMF. So that's who Cashbox International is. And the IMF has told Iraq repeatedly at the IMF Article 4 consultations that Iraq will maintain the peg and not float. There is no real economy outside of oil, and the IMF have told Iraq that if they moved to a float the value would drop and negatively affect the common citizens of Iraq with a currency that has less purchasing power than it does on the peg. I don't see Iraq moving off the peg. This is a great article. From Backdoc. How does June the 8th look for things to kick off? No sir. Now that countries are using their rates country to country since May 15th, they need to work their values higher and higher with contracts until they reach the desired launch values. Sometime after July 8th, a Sunday going into a Monday are my thoughts. I look for Mosul announcement between June 10th to 15th. These are just some thoughts. Last up, from one who serves. Layers by one who serves. Sometimes free ain't so good depending on how it's done. When you choose to embark on a project, regardless your good intentions, please everyone, talk to experts first. The bank and/or your wealth manager I'm sure have a pre-vetted list of experts they can recommend. They might even provide you the services of those individuals for free or at a reduced cost depending on how they view your latest project as a profit generator for themselves. If it involves money, they win too for providing a parking location for it and/or for moving that money where it needs to go. Hash everything out and make sure you understand all the repercussions of your actions before you take them. Done properly, everyone wins. Done improperly, well, let's endeavor not to go there. A theoretical example of ugly in progress: you want to give a whole bunch of people money. Let's assume each gets a stack of $100 bills, $10,000. There's a right way to do this and a very, very wrong way that could even put you behind bars, maybe for life. The wrong way: you want to make a big splash and really fire people up and make a big media event to show the world your generosity. You hire a helicopter to airdrop a pallet of stacks of $100 bills in the middle of a crowded football stadium where all those fans are waiting for the game to start. Boy, this is going to be good. When you hand out money, you are touching the very soul of a person because it's a cabal-programmed staple of life in their minds. It's really worthless paper, isn't it? People don't just want their share, they want it all. The ensuing chaos as everyone tries to get to the field to get a fistful for themselves will be carnage squared. Many people will get trampled and many killed, and those that do make it to the pallet of money will be fighting among themselves to retain as much as they can. Yup, it'll be a real media event alright. Good intentions, horrible execution, very bad outcome that will have the authorities looking for you relentlessly to lock you up for a very long time. I'm sure everyone can see how this could, and would, happen. When you're dealing with people's primal instincts, as per cabal programming that's laid on us constantly 24/7/365 from the day we're born, it's a delicate situation to do properly, and done wrong, ugly almost always ensues. But I want to give money away to make people happy, sure. That's an honorable goal, but you have to execute on that goal properly, and the above example shows you that good intentions do not automatically result in a good outcome. Hardly ever. There's that middle part where the hard work and proper planning happen to get you from goal to outcome as you envision. There's the rub. So let's revisit your idea. Giving people money. It's an honorable goal, but how better to do it where nobody dies and where they don't issue you a lifetime of free orange jumpsuits and 3 square meals a day for your efforts. So what's a right way? Here's an idea. There are many, I just picked one that will work well. Let's still use the football stadium as a venue for this, only let's change things around a bit. On the way in, hand everyone a card and a pencil. The card says that it's some special anniversary for the stadium owners and that they'd like to gift each individual with a little prize for being there on this special day. Please provide us with your name and mailing address so we can send it to you. It would be unwieldy to hand them out at the stadium, as it would slow the pace the fans can enter or exit the stadium, and that wouldn't be good. Nobody is going to kill anyone else to get their card also, so they can double dip. You didn't tell them what it was, and I'm sure most will believe they'll get a pen or a Hawaiian jiggly figurine with the stadium name on its forehead, or a similarly worthless trinket, but it's free, so yeah, I'm game to see what I get. Wink. Nice, peaceful, fans file in, watch game, fill out the card, hand it in as they file out after the game, and go home, and almost all will then forget about it. Now you engage a marketing company to get those addresses into a computer database where they then print $10,000 checks issued against a trust you set up specifically for this project so nobody can trace it to you. You absolutely have to remain anonymous and invisible. They print an explanation letter that also states the donor chooses to remain anonymous, where they simply ask, for this random act of kindness, being gifted with the check, that the recipient, in kind, at some point in the future, consider doing a random act of kindness as well of their choosing. The firm stuffs the envelopes, seals them, stamps them, and delivers them to the post office for you, and you're done. Everyone has their money. they feel even more special for being singled out, and you have just enlisted many of them as at least one-time humanitarians. You got even more bang for your buck here, didn't you? Win-win for everyone. Good idea, good intent, good execution, very positive outcome. And it took very little effort on your part or that of your staff to set this up and execute properly on it to gain you your ultimate outcome. Everybody at the stadium that day gets $10,000. See the difference? There's a lot more to giving money away than just dumping it in front of a big running fan to blow it around. This is almost never the correct way and almost always will result in a really bad outcome. A real-world example. So now let's entertain a real-world example of what I'm talking about. Let's talk about the idea of free food. A few have mentioned on the forum as just one single example where good intentions and perhaps bad execution might cause a lot more damage than good. Perhaps not the best way. Buy up a supermarket chain or chain of grocery stores where you are now the owner/manager with all that responsibility. Fire a good deal of the workers because for sure you now need no more cashiers put out and everything is free. Sign run for the hills because the carnage will be severe when it comes to dealing with people's emotions and with basic staples of life people are willing to fight or even die for. How you do things is really important to gain the outcome you want, as quickly and as positively as is possible. Beyond what's said above, let's say you manage to not kill anyone for the stampede, however, you have lost workers who needed jobs, and beyond that now you are maligning the food suppliers/manufacturers because if everything is now free, everyone is going for the Cadillac of every product, leaving the lesser brands untouched on the shelves. What happens to those manufacturers now? For you're not buying much or any of their product anymore. If it gets bad enough they have to fire people because they can't afford to employ them anymore, or even worse yet, maybe even go out of business. That's good, right? But wait, weren't we supposed to create jobs? What happened? Do you see how quickly this can degenerate into seriously ugly? But wait, it gets worse. Much worse. So now you're only able to do your free everything store chain in one area to start with. Don't you think consumers everywhere else in the US will notice? Heck, the MSM will be all over this one, and with affiliates it'll be maybe a day or two before everyone in the whole country knows. Only, hey, wait, how come they get free food and we don't? Are you really wanting to perhaps start civil unrest or even a civil war for wanting to do a good thing and give people free food? You cannot roll this out simultaneously across the whole of the US, so regardless how much you can do, you're going to alienate a good segment of the population. Trust me folks, the last thing you want to do is cause a good segment of the population, we're talking over 300 million of them, to get their panties in a knot. Not good. Do you see the issue here? And then, should civil unrest start or worse yet a civil war, now you've opened the front door and could potentially be letting the cabal back in so they can weasel their way back into power. For the chaos that ensues, nobody is watching, and by the time those who were supposed to be guarding the door who were instead beating off angry citizens realize what's going on, it may be too late. Doubly not good. All because you had a good idea and wanted to help. Good intentions, poor execution, bad outcome, perhaps very bad. Never give up on your ideas nor goals. This is where the experts come in. Pay them well for their services. They can make this happen quickly, and like the RV, nobody other than those who are in the program will ever know. Yup, they will keep this under the radar so you can gradually grow the program, get other humanitarians involved to implement this in their areas, also under the radar, and by the time people start realizing what's going on, there is such a large contingent of the population already receiving free food across the whole country, poorest first and then work your way up the chain, that it's no big deal to anyone. So what do? You leverage existing infrastructure and expertise. You don't buy it out and replace it. You do not want to manage dozens of grocery stores. You have more important things to do. You're the CEO of your own humanitarian empire, and you're the point a finger and have your people make it happen, guy or gal. You don't have time to do anything else, nor should you have to. How would I do it? This is actually one of my humanitarian projects, and this way it has a far better chance of working and absolutely can be kept under the radar, so there is no ugly. I can also keep this small and / or local or go national or implement it to any degree in between, and regardless my choice for where I draw the line, it works well in all cases. USA Incorporated actually has a program that's currently working. Rife with fraud and misuse, but it works. We've all heard of food stamps. Now SNAP with EBT cards, which I think are some kind of debit card that restrict usage for approved food items only. Grocery stores already accept them. They already know how to handle them and how to properly program their cash register computers to do so correctly. Let them do it for you. They will love you for all the additional business you're bringing them and will probably bend over backwards to accommodate your needs. Yup, the Nutrition Assistance Program. Pick a name excluding the word free. That agitates people too much, you know what I mean. Make it something benign, so if someone sees someone else using the card at a store, it doesn't register. Free would be too noticeable, and that's the opposite of what you want. Okay, so now you not only need stores to accept your free food debit cards, you also need to put that infrastructure into place. It's already there. Banks issue debit cards. Talk to your banker and explain what you want. They will bend over backwards to put this into place for you, because they will smell lots of money that, though it's going to be funneling through their bank rapidly, it's going to be on a continual basis, and they're still going to be making a lot of profit on it as well. Yup, for those who don't know, banks make money on the money in your account that is just sitting there. How else, aside from loans, do you think they survive? They're not like the Federal Reserve, they can't just print their own, hee. They will even set up all the accounts for all the recipients for you and set up the automatic monthly transfers from your charitable trust account into participant accounts based on the agreed upon monthly grocery stipend for each participant. Now you just forget it and maybe drop another wad of money into that trust account once a year, or you could even set up an automatic transfer once a year from your main trust account to the charitable one, or do that automatically based on some minimum funding threshold being hit. Beyond the tiny bit of work you had to do initially to have a few meetings to set it all up, you don't ever have to lift another finger. But wait, we have grocery stores ready to rock and roll, we have the food debit card system set up for us. Don't we need recipients? That'd be a yupper. How do we find those? Again, leverage existing infrastructure. Never reinvent the wheel, that takes too long and takes too much work. But how? Surely you've heard of charities and food banks, right? Engage them to participate. Turn food banks into clearinghouses who vet applicants and pass the information on to the bank along with the monthly stipend amount. Yup, they're now your processing staff, and they're doing far more good for the world than they could ever have hoped, schlepping food to the needy. As a suggestion, pay them well for their involvement in this, it's only fair. They know better than anyone else who the most needy are, because they give them food every day or week. Now, instead, they give them a piece of plastic that allows them to buy all they need and then some, and the food bank's job gets far easier for not having to move all that food anymore. The recipients do it by carrying home their grocery bags full of it from the participating stores themselves. Charities could also vet people and forward information to the banks for you, or if you don't like that direct connection, set up a small staff to do that processing for you, with the charities feeding your staff the contact information for potential new participants, which might be a better choice. Or you could have the charities feed contact information for potential participants to your food bank processing staff, so it's a one-stop shop. There are a lot of ways to do this, these are only a few suggestions, but do consider making generous donations to those charities to help them in all their other charitable endeavors. So let's see. Supermarkets on the hook? Check. Food debit card issuance and monthly rehydration infrastructure in place and ready to switch on? Check. Vetting and sign-up staff? Check. We're good. You're a go. And all that in place and nobody noticed anything. Genius. The needy win, not only for now having access to an abundance of food but also for now being able to buy the products they want rather than settle for whatever the food bank that was feeding them could scare up to distribute to them, where you've already improved their quality of life without even trying. The stores win big time for their cash windfall for all the new continuous customers, and you win for now not having to lift a finger beyond the few hours it took you to talk this through with your experts so it would get set up correctly. The stores stay stores, those buying groceries still go there, your food assistance program participants shop there like normal shoppers, they pay with a card like most people do and nobody notices anything. You haven't taken the incentive away from the store owners to make profit. This is a biggie because IT creates jobs, and you haven't maligned food manufacturers/suppliers for having people always grab the top-end products if they were free for the taking. The stores win for the profits. The manufacturers win for the increased sales and may even have to hire more people or build more factories or processing plants, which also creates jobs. You win for now being able to mostly forget about this and concentrate on another humanitarian project, just watching this one from a distance, charging your staff with more closely monitoring things. Everyone is happy and everyone wins. Wow. And you didn't have to build nor buy anything. You leveraged existing infrastructure where nobody currently using it noticed anything. No ticked off population, no civil unrest, no civil wars, not a chance the cabal can sneak back into power this way, or as they say in basketball, nothing but net. So now that it's operating, you let this program run locally for a few months to work out any kinks, and then you start having your sign-up staff, food banks and charities, engage the less needy to join. You can now grow this as quickly or as slowly as you want, and you won't start a war, nor will those who aren't being approached even notice. You can keep it local, within the state, within the region, or even go national, and no matter how small or large you make this, everyone that's part of the program, food stores, banks, participants, all win, and still nobody else knows anything or even cares. Exactly what you want. You just rocked the world, improved the quality of life for almost everyone in the country or whatever region you chose for your program, and still nobody not participating in your program noticed anything. Layers, yup, layers. Just like building an onion from the core outwardly. You start with the core, which is always small, and get that going first, and then once proven working, you start building the onion, one new layer at a time, and still nobody notices anything out of the ordinary no matter how big the onion gets. Cool. Eventually everyone in the country knows and all are participating in the program and everyone is happy. Win-win. It's all happened under the radar as it needed to, and as a successful program that's continuing, it remains under the radar and life goes on. Only now the quality of life is better for everyone for your efforts to put this program into place. Now you can show other humanitarians how to properly do it. They implement it in their corner of the world, and slowly, methodically, steadily, it gets done not only in your area but hopefully the whole country. Sure, it might take a couple/3 years to fully roll out, but now you have the time to do so because you are not ticking off people who aren't getting free food like the first scenario would. Invisible to everyone except for those you invite into the program. You've leveraged the existing infrastructure, augmented it where those providing it are doing it for you either for free or for minimal cost, and it's now automatic save for adding people to the program and signing up more food stores to accept your food assistance program debit card, which could also be managed centrally by the food bank doing your new participant vetting/processing. Piece of cake. You succeeded with your program, met your target goals, did very little work yourself, and your program becomes self-sustaining save for refreshing the funding in the charitable trust account whenever necessary, but even that you may have automated. Easy peasy. It's time to cross that project off the list and get started on the next. Be mindful of people's emotions, especially when you're toying with people's emotions by manipulating basic life support needs. You need to tread very carefully and do it properly, or yup, it could get pretty ugly. When people are upset, they become reactive and they stop thinking rationally, and it can quickly degenerate into an angry mob mentality. Folks, you're not going to shut this kind of ugly down quickly nor peaceably. Someone is going to get hurt and/or killed if it degrades to this. So please, never toss an idea for a humanitarian project. I am most assuredly not suggesting this. I'm simply saying none of us, and yes, myself included, has all the answers where we need all the answers before we take the first step to implementing our chosen program so it comes out right on the other end without any fanfare, so people don't get upset unnecessarily. Talk to your experts and listen to them and heed their suggestions and put your program into place properly with as little visibility as possible. That gets it done fast and correctly the first time around the block, where you can now have staff keep an eye on it for you, where you now can move on to bigger and better projects. Not all projects are the same. Contrasting this though, if you're building bridges, or repairing roads or buildings or any kind of normal infrastructure, or doing any other project that doesn't affect people's lives in a direct way for their basic needs, where, for the possibility everyone might find out, it doesn't cause any issues, sure, full speed ahead. These are not things the general public would get bothered about for seeing happen. It's normal. Things that directly affects their lives though, that's a whole different ballgame, and it needs to be played differently and expertly. Like clockwork, let's all please choose to do things properly the first time around to maximize our free time, to allow us all to get far more done and implemented than any of us could ever dream would be possible. Like everything in this world though, things take time to do properly, where you have to give them the time that's needed. If you push to implement them too quickly, you almost always break something, and for doing that, either you'll never get it done for all the damage you have to now repair, or else, for having to do that also, it will take far longer than executing on the project more slowly, where you didn't break anything in the process in the first place. Yes, many times, slower works out to be faster in the grand scheme of things. It's a crazy world we live in, huh? This is not a race. None of us is looking to win the prize. Humanity's ascension is the prize, and we're members of that group. The goal is to raise everyone up in unison, methodically and as quickly as it can be done in as positive a manner possible for everyone, but no faster. Beyond the obvious pitfalls of moving too quickly, humans do not adapt quickly. Everyone likes the comfort zone they've erected around themselves, and unlike we light workers, they fear the unknown where we revel in it. It will take time as you implement your programs for the general public to accept them, and even more time for them to change their bias to where the new way you put in place is a new baseline for them, where they've either expanded their comfort zone to include this new way or just moved the old one squarely over the new way. Either way it's good, but it doesn't happen overnight. The more different something is from the old way, the more pushback you will get from the public, and the longer it will take for them to accept it. Expect it. It's reality. It's not bad, and instead, a level of protection we each have installed around ourselves, and for good reason. It's simply going to take some time for people to adapt. Please consider building this aspect of human existence into the timelines for your humanitarian projects, as it will make things go much more smoothly for everyone involved. Here too, talk to your experts. They can give you reasonable timelines for how long it will take for the general public to accept your new contributions to society, and then for them to change their bias to make it their new baseline. As the Irish say, when God made time, He made enough of it. May we all get our projects implemented as quickly as humanly possible, but please, endeavor to go no faster. We're a team. It's not you nor myself, nor Fred down the block, who is also a humanitarian, wink, against the old world, trying to forge a new world filled with wonder, happiness, and infinite abundance. All humanitarians on Earth comprise a team, perhaps each and every one of us being hand-picked by the Creator for this task, and though none of us in isolation could ever hope to get it all done, as a team, we can move mountains, and we will, and quickly. Please consider leveraging other humanitarians' desire to do good, where you enlist those who would choose to do so, to implement your programs in their corner of the world as well, and please also consider implementing their programs in your neck of the woods. Every little bit helps. No, none of us can do it all, nor does anyone, not even the Creator, expect this. It's silly. Humans are finite and limited, and we're currently living in a very limited/constrained world. It does however make sense to run with others' projects for their original authors having implemented them where they've already figured out the optimal manner of implementation and execution, where for the most part, you probably have little to nothing to do other than hand your staff the other humanitarians how to guide and direct them to make it happen. Depending on how much staff you want, you could be running dozens of projects simultaneously. We'll get it done. Signed, one who serves.